Welcombe Community Radio in the heart of Shakespeare country, for the community, by the community, in the community.
Nice.
And we're delighted to say that we're joined by the head teacher of Bishopton Primary School, Mr. Smith. Welcome along.
Thank you very much.
And would you like to start by just telling us a bit about yourself?
Sure. Right, well, my name is Andrew Smith, and I've recently been appointed as head teacher of Bishopton Primary School. I've been at Bishopton now for just over 4 weeks, and I'm loving it. I've moved to Bishopton from being a head teacher in Warwick, the school there of 400 plus children, where I'd been for the previous 7 and a bit years. And prior to that, I'd been a head teacher at Lapworth Primary School. So all told, I'm in my 12th year of headship. As a young person, I was in school in Stratford, primary school at Bridgetown, secondary school at King Edward's, and so have spent pretty much all of my life within the town. Love Stratford. Can't think of a better place to bring up my own children who go to Bridgetown School themselves.
That's good.
Very good. So you're homegrown, so to speak.
Yes, lovely, yeah.
Excellent, yes. So the reason we asked you to come along today is because it's Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. And I suppose the first question to ask would be, why do you think it's important to be aware of children's mental health?
Well, children's mental health is becoming increasingly important for us in schools. We're learning more about it, and as we learn more about it, we find out more and more about children as individuals. At Bishopton in particular, we look to treat every child individually. We try to find out what their interests are, what they're good at, and where they find their challenges. Because every child is not just going to be academically ready, they've got to be emotionally ready as well. To start school, to move into new year groups, and to meet the challenges of every day. So mental health is something that a few years ago would never have been talked about in school. Never ever. But now it's something that's it's openly discussed, and staff are aware of it, support staff are aware of it, and increasingly parents are more aware of it as well. Now, for me, sound mental health means that you have happier children or happier adults. They're going to have more enjoyment of school opportunities. That could be their standards of learning. It could be their engagement in activities, sports, drama, music, or so on, and definitely not just academic standards.
Yes, that's very important.
Yeah.
What can schools do to improve children's emotional resilience?
Well, in schools now, there's a lot more things that are available for young people to improve their emotional resilience. Staff have access to resources that are online. There's far more online that's available for people to look at that we can use with children during PSHE lessons. Also, for our most needy children, our most vulnerable children, we offer counselling, where we bring a trained counsellor in to work with individuals on either play or Lego therapy or art therapy. And we also have mental health and emotional resilience as part of our school improvement plan. Now, usually, historically, school improvement plans have mainly been academic. So we've been looking to say, well, we want to do this to improve our standards in mathematics or in literacy, whereas now part of our improvement plan is actually we're looking to improve children's resilience. Now, that is a huge shift in thinking and in perception, because not only now are we looking at academic standards, we're now looking at the whole child and making it more explicit that we're doing activities in school designed to improve the well-being of the whole child, not just to make them better at, say, English or maths or topic work or whatever it may be.
Yes.
Well, that's really good to hear. Yeah, it's a great sort of shift towards, as you say, seeing the child as a whole.
Absolutely.
Whole individual. And,
Absolutely.
Do you think that's sort of something that's happening across the board? Or?
Certainly schools I've worked in, more recently it has been, because you can see more and more children having that emotional need. And the more you can support that emotional need, the more you'll get from the children, and the more they'll access the opportunities you can provide for them. An example of that would be that, certainly for myself, during my schooling, the role of something like a learning mentor would never have been heard of. However, in my experience, and I have experience of employing people where that's all they do, their role is to be a learning mentor. So they help children to manage the pastoral side of their learning. They have nothing to do with academic standards. They just look at pastoral support. So that type of role traditionally had always been something that a secondary school may consider.
Yes.
Whereas now the primary sector more and more is getting more involved with the mentoring, counselling, and helping children from the age of 4 upwards with managing their emotions.
Well, that's wonderful. And obviously, as we know, teaching is a very highly stressful occupation. So how do you support your teachers to ensure that they're emotionally resilient? Well,
that's an interesting question, isn't it? Because I think we presume that as adults we are all, emotionally resilient, that we don't have feelings and that we can just go in and do whatever on any given day. And sure, we tend to expect that we can just manage our feelings and go into the classroom and compartmentalise the rest of our lives. I guess for me as a head teacher, part of my role is to be approachable, to have a policy where any member of staff can come and speak to me. But the one thing I really don't want to do is to pry. And so if somebody has something they want to talk about, they're always able to come and do so. However, it's very much a case of, if you want to come and say something, then come and say it. If you don't and you're comfortable keeping it yourself, then I'm not going to be pestering you and asking you every minute of the day how you're feeling. Also, again, I have experience of staff who work with vulnerable children, offering them supervision with trained counsellors.
Yes.
So they do have the opportunity in a non-threatening environment to offload at least once a month. And those sessions are not noted, they're not reported back on to myself as a leader in a school. They merely are for those adults who are hearing sometimes quite harrowing stories and tales to manage what they're hearing, and to make sure that they're not taking that home with them. And they will take it home with them, but that it's not affecting their home life as much as it may. So it's giving them the opportunity to talk things through with somebody who is not connected with the school and in a completely non-threatening environment. The final thing really is to remove any unnecessary demands that we might have on our staff. So to look at cutting down on things like marking, to make it simpler for teachers, to look at making assessment simpler, to not overcomplicate what we're asking teachers to teach, to not place undue demands of their own time. For me personally, extracurricular activities form a big part of my life and always have done. However, I don't force every member of staff to take part in extracurricular activities. They do it if they want to do it, not because they're forced to. So anything like that is in my opinion, is going to help the emotional resilience of my staff. If I can help them to feel that they're valued, then that's going to go a long way to getting the best out of them.
Well, that sounds great. There must be. I'm sure if there are any teachers listening at the moment, they'll be thinking, "Oh, I'd like to go and work for him."
Well, I don't know.
Our next question is about how important it is to support children now so that they become resilient as adults. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, for me, when I was thinking about, when I've given this a bit of thought, we all know that one day we're going to grow old. We're going to need our next generation of young people when they're adults to be potentially looking after us. So if we can provide our young people with the resilient strategies that they need, it's going to be beneficial for us as well. Also, there's been lots of studies that have taken place about businesses, the workplace, workplaces that are crying out for young people who are going to stick at courses, who are going to stick at jobs, not chop and change repeatedly, in order to progress through business. And those are the types of things that, on a much lower scale, we're trying to practice in school. So giving children the skills to be resilient, to not give up, to not just ask for help before they've had a go. Those are the types of skills that we want to develop. The strategies of team working, so important, not just being an individual. And for me, I always liken it to sport, because that's played a big part in my life. And I know that for whatever I've done, I've not always been successful, but I've never given up. And so that's something that I try and instill in my own children at home, and we'll be trying to instill in my children at Bishopton.
That's great.
Okay.